Hello students, warm greetings to all. Let's take a closer look at the fourth unit of your English textbook titled Everything I Need to Know I Learned in the Forest, written by Vandana Shiva. Before taking you all onto the main script of this lesson, I will carry you onto the biography of the author of this lesson. Vandana Shiva was born in 1952 in the valley of Dehradun and spent her school and college days in the Himalayan region. I have thought that you people might have heard the word of Himalaya many times when you are matriculation students. Himalaya is a mountain range which extends 1500 miles in between the two countries, India and Tibet. Vandana Shiva was an internationally renowned or known activist, one who takes her participation for biodiversity, which means she means to say her readers that biodiversity is all about an existence of all kinds of animals and plants which make a balanced environment. And she became a crusader against the corporate globalization, which means she was against the business sector, who was the reason for cutting of the trees in the forest. She witnessed many times the falling of the trees in the forest. So she was all the time against the corporate system globally. The present lesson, Everything I Need to Know I Learned in the Forest, is completely based on two articles written by Vandana Shiva herself. The first part of the lesson, titled Everything I Need to Know I Learned in the Forest, was published in the winter issue of S Magazine 2012. The second part, titled Rights of Nature on the Global Stage, was adopted by the author from her own article Forest and Freedom, which was published in May or June 2011 edition of Resurgence magazine. The whole lesson can be conveniently studied in two parts. The first part, the author tells her readers how she learnt the basic principles of environmentalism from the uneducated women of Garhwal, which was a region of Himalaya, and how she became a proactive environmentalist is best described in the present context of the lesson of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in the Forest. In the second part, she presents a historical account of how the concept of earth as a living entity got transformed to earth as a dead matter and its consequences. The whole lesson talks about environmental concepts like biodiversity, earth as a living organism, earth democracy, and ecological sustainability. Let's make our way onto the main script of this lesson. Everything I need to know, I learned in the forest. The title of the lesson suggests us all about the things that Vandana Shiva gets to know, or Vandana Shiva gains the knowledge is from the forest. Here, we the readers need to know that Himalaya is a region full of forest. Though it's a mountain range. Everywhere we can see the appearance of forests surrounding Himalayan region. She learnt many lessons and basic ideals of life from the forest itself. She came to know about the principality of the lives too from the forest. So, obviously, we can come to know that whatever Vandana Shiva knows is from the forest that she lives with it. Let's make a move on to the very first line of this lesson, where she says, "My ecological journey started in the forests of the Himalaya." The very first line that it tells its readers that our ecological journey. Here we have come across the word ecological journey. Here we can derive or take a word ecology. It is an area of study about the relationship between all the groups of living things and their environment. In simple words, we can say that it's all about the relationship between all the living things or organisms and their environment, into which Vandana Shiva had taken her focus on. Vandana Shiva was grown or brought up in the Himalayan region. She was influenced a lot by the forest and the environment that she was surrounded. So, she took her involvement along with what we call, she took her participation in every movement that was conducted surrounding the Himalayan region. So, she was interested in ecology as she was the part of the forests of Himalaya. And moreover, how she was influenced a lot by the forests of Himalaya is that she witnessed the cutting of trees in the forests of Himalaya by the government officials and by the loggers. So, she took her involvement in the study of ecology. This journey, the word ecology here, that completely revolves around the journey of that revolves around the journey that she takes along with her. The journey of ecology started in the forests of Himalaya. Whatever she did, that was produced in the region of Himalaya, especially in the forest of Himalaya. That is where her journey of ecology was started. My father was a forest conservator. Now she lets her readers to know that she had such a background as she was impressed a lot by the forest. The background that she had ever that propelled Vandana Shiva to take her participation in every movement of the forest of Himalaya. Her father carried a profession, called it as conservator, who was appointed or assigned to take care of the forest. Only a few minutes ago, I told you people earlier that Himalaya is full of the forests. So, the father of Vandana Shiva was assigned a role of taking care of those forests which were grown in the region of Himalaya. He was totally a conservator, one who could take care of those trees which were grown in the forests. My mother became a farmer. In contrast to the profession of Vandana Shiva's father, her mother took a profession of carrying out agricultural deeds. She was more interested in carrying out the deeds of agriculture. So, she became a successful farmer. After fleeing the tragic partition of India and Pakistan, when did the mother of Vandana Shiva become a farmer? Is that after happening of the division of the India and Pakistan. After having seen the partition between the two countries of India and Pakistan, the mother of Vandana Shiva turned into a farmer. Before happening this, what was actually the mother of Vandana Shiva is unknown to us because it is not given over here. But she was a successful farmer, which means she became a farmer after happening of the division in between the countries of India and Pakistan. It is from the Himalayan forests and ecosystems that I learned most of what I know about ecology. Only a few minutes ago, I told you people the meaning that is associated with the word of ecology. Again, I am going to remind you people the meaning of this word ecology. Ecology is a study of the relationship between the groups of living things or organisms and their environment. It is from the Himalayan forests. Whatever Vandana Shiva knows. Whatever the knowledge Vandana Shiva as is borrowed or derived from the Himalayan forests. Already we have come to know that she has had such a background in her home, as her father was a conservator, one who took care of the forests of Himalaya, and her mother was a farmer. So, the knowledge that our Vandana Shiva ever gained or that she was with was borrowed from the forests of Himalaya. And ecosystems in a sense what we call everything which exists in environment, everything, whether it is a living thing or a non-living thing, which appears in an environment is called ecosystem. Ecosystem that I learned most of what I know about ecology. Where did she acquire the knowledge? Is that only from the Himalayan forest and the ecosystem in which she lived her life ever. She learnt many lessons. While speaking about the biography of Vandana Shiva, there we have come across that whatever she knows, she has taken all the knowledge from the Himalayan forests and the ecosystems. And whatever the knowledge she has about ecology, the journey with which she goes on, with which she takes herself on, is taken from the ecosystem and the Himalayan forest where she has lived her life. The songs and poems our mother composed for us were only about trees, forests, and India's forest civilizations. The mother of Vandana Shiva used to write poems and songs only for her daughter Vandana Shiva were all about trees and forests and India's forest civilizations. And here, what do we need to understand is that the whole family of Vandana Shiva merely concerns with the forests of Himalaya. And even the mother of Vandana Shiva, though she takes onto the agricultural deeds, she uses to write many poems, songs only for her daughter Vandana Shiva, or all about the trees and forests and India's forest civilizations. Which means the songs and poems that were written by the mother of Vandana Shiva were all about the trees and forests and the India's forest civilizations. Let us make a move on to the another slide. My involvement in the contemporary ecology movement began with Chipko. And here, What Vandana Shiva tries to tell her readers is that her involvement or her participation in the contemporary ecology movement began with the Chipko. When does this Chipko movement begin is that when the group of women in the Himalayan region witness the falling of the trees in the forest of Himalaya, they have come forward out of their home in the defense of the forests. At this moment, she, which means Vandana Shiva, is impressed a lot after having seen the involvement of all the uneducated women of Garhwal. In this way, Vandana Shiva also takes her interest in the contemporary ecology movement. Contemporary in a sense what we call the modern day ecology movement. Sometimes ago, or in the olden days, we observed many movements were held by the reformers of India to protect the forest and the civilization of India. In the same way, many movements were held in terms of ecology to protect it. It needs, which means the ecosystem or the environment in which we live our life in needs to be protected from us. So, when you people start turning the pages of history, you can observe many movements can be held only to protect the ecology in which we live our life in, especially in these modern days. When does the participation of Vandana Shiva take place in the ecology movement is that only with the Chipko movement, when the uneducated women from Garhwal of Himalaya comes out of their home to protect the forests of Himalaya. Vandana Shiva gets influenced a lot after having seen the coming of group of uneducated women out of their home. So, Vandana Shiva after having impressed a lot, she takes her participation in this modern days ecological movement. This ecological movement of Vandana Shiva gets started with the Chipko movement, which was only held only to protect the forest by hugging the trees. And here, Vandana Shiva defines the word of Chipko. What she defines is that Chipko is a non-violent response to the large-scale deforestation that was taking place in the Himalayan region. Chipko is defined by Vandana Shiva as is a non-violent response when a group of women from Garhwal region and the surrounding places of women come out of their home in protect of the forest. It is done, their movement or protest is done only through the non-violence, where we can't see the bloodshed without pouring the blood from the bodies of the people. This Chipko movement was achieved earlier. Chipko movement was such a non-violent response or reaction by the group of women? To what? Why was this Chipko movement held? Is that to the large scale deforestation? Deforestation is an act of cutting down or burning of the trees in the forest. That's what we call deforestation. Against this deforestation, which happens in a large scale, which happens in an unusually large scale, this Chipko movement was held. That was taking place in the Himalayan region. This Chipko movement was taken place in the Himalayan region. I told you people earlier that a group of women from Garhwal, who was a part of Himalayan region, came out of their house only to protect the forest. This Chipko movement took place in this Himalayan region against the large scale of cutting of trees in the forest by hugging the trees. This was a non-violent response. If you are asked a question like what is the Chipko movement, for 1 mark in your upcoming examination, you can write it as your answer, as it's a non-violent response to the large scale deforestation that was taking place in the Himalayan region. In the 1970s, peasant women from my region in the Garhwal, Himalaya, had come out in defense of the forests. Here, Vandana Shiva takes an account or an incident of the decade of 1970. In the midst of the decade of 1970, peasant women, which means a group of illiterate women who can't read and write, which means a woman who are not educated and have a low social status in a society is called a peasant woman who are not good enough in education. That's what we call peasant women. Those illiterate women from her region in the Garhwal Himalaya had come out, and all these peasant women, though they were not well educated enough and had a low social status in the society, came out of their home only to protect the forest. That's what we call defense of the forest. Only to protect the forest, all these group of illiterate women came out of their home only to defend the forests. Logging had led to landslides and floods and scarcity of water, fodder and fuel. And here Vandana Shiva says her readers what consequences logging had caused to the environment is said by Vandana Shiva here. Logging had led to landslides. Landslide in a sense of what we call, it's a large mass of soil going away. A mass of soil goes away. That's what we call landslides. What we call it in Kannada is that ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಒಂದು ಸವಕಳಿ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. This logging in a sense, the work of or an act of cutting down the trees. When the people start cutting down the trees in the forest, it causes many harms or problems to the people and even to the forests. And all the living beings in an environment are armed by the logging. It causes many problems. And here we are given what did logging cause. Logging caused many problems, that is landslides. It is a mass of soil goes away from its place where it can be seen on the surface of the earth. And floods, what we call it is a overflowing of the body of water. The level of water that overflows, that's what we call floods. ಪ್ರವಾಹಗಳು ಅಂತ ಏನು ಕರಿತೀವಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. And scarcity of water, and this logging caused a scarcity or shortage of water. The people wouldn't get an abundant amount of water or huge amount of water when this logging happens in our environment. And fodder in a sense, it is a food for the animals. And that's what we call in a deserted land or in a green land, we can't see the growing up of a grass which can be consumed by the domesticated animals. And these fodder can't also be seen when this logging happens in our environment. And fuel, it is a substance which is used to promote an energy. In a word, in short, it can be called as an oil, fuel. And we also face the problem of having the oil when this logging takes place. Since women provide these basic needs, the scarcity meant longer walks for collecting water and firewood and a heavier burden. And these are the basic needs of a human beings in a society. As we have witnessed or observed so far in the very first line of this present paragraph, the water, fodder and fuel are all these the fundamental needs or requirements of the human beings and other living creatures or living species of this earth. The women actually have taken the responsibility of carrying all these things to their home. They have taken the responsibility upon their shoulder to take these things to their home. Since these women provide or assist with the basic needs, as we have witnessed so far, the scarcity of water meant longer walks for collecting water and firewood that the women need. And here, what Vandana Shiva means to say her readers is that the scarcity doesn't mean nowhere water is available, but she says her readers that it means the woman must walk for a longer distance to collect the water. Nowhere in their surrounding places, in a very little distant area, this group of women can't get the water. They have to walk for a longer distance to fetch the drinking water and the firewood too. And this timber, which works as an oil for their hearth to prepare the food at their home, they need firewood. When the forest is demolished by the bureaucrats and the government officials or loggers, we can't get the enough firewood from the dead trees. So, the scarcity here that refers to the women have to walk for longer distance to collect these firewood. They need to go to all distant places to fetch these firewoods and water. And it could be a heavier burden both mentally and physically to the women of Garhwal. The carrying out all these actions to collect water and firewood from the distant places as they found no water in their surrounding area, it could be a heavier burden both mentally and physically as well to the women of Garhwal. Women knew that the real value of forests was not the timber from a dead tree. And here, especially the Garhwal women were aware of the fact that the real value of the forests was not only the timber that we get from the dead tree. When the people start cutting down a tree, there we can't see the appearance of those trees. They are certainly dead. There is no liveliness among all the trees which are being grown in a forest. So, these women of Garhwal were aware of the fact that the real value of the forest was not only the timber or firewood that we get from the dead tree. Only to prepare our food at our home, the women of Garhwal had to walk for long distance to collect those firewood from the dead tree. It was not only the effect of the falling off or cutting of the trees, but the significance that lies of the trees in the forests is that we not only get the timber from the dead tree, we the people of this earth doesn't only get the timber or firewood from the dead tree, but we can see the spring and streams. It is what we call springs is a season of growth, and everywhere, wherever we see surrounding our environment, we can observe all the trees are being grown greenery. Everywhere, the whole environment is surrounded with green. That is what we call springs. There is a loveliness in it. Every living creature can involve in an activity in the spring season. Springs and streams The value that we see in the forest is the streams. It is a narrow flowing of the water. Whenever we see the abundance of the large number abundance or large number of the forest in our surrounding nature, it can produce the flowing of the water in the hills and mountains. So we can also observe the flowing of water in the form of streams. Streams, in a sense, it is a narrow flowing of water. And food for their cattle. Cattle, in a sense, it's domesticated animals. Food in the form of a grass. We can also provide or feed the cattle with the food or with the grass, and fuel for their hearts. Hearts are used to prepare their food, and fuel is it works as a timber, works as a fuel over here, as an oil for the hearts. And here these forests can also produce fuel for the hearts. The women declared that they would hug the trees. As all these women of Garhwal were aware of all these things of the springs, streams, food for their cattle and fuel for their hearts, all these women declared themselves that they would hug the trees. They wouldn't simply sit at their home. What did they declare is that they would come forward out of their home in defense of the forest by hugging the trees to protect the trees that are grown in the forest. And the loggers would have to kill them before killing the trees. What all these group of women from Garhwal declared further is that the loggers, one who visit the forest to cut the trees, would have to kill these group of women before cutting or killing the trees. This group of women necessitate the loggers to cut their heads off first before cutting down the trees in the forest. When all these women decided to hug the trees. And here Vandana Shiva describes Vandana Shiva had a folk song over here, and this folk song is a traditional song which is created by the people. A folk song of that period said, of that period in the sense, in the decade of 1970, at the period, in this period, a folk song was produced by the people. What was said in this folk song is that these beautiful oaks and rhododendrons. Oaks is a kind of a tree that grows in the northern parts of the world, especially in the northern parts of the world. These oak trees are grown. They are very beautiful in their structure or in their nature. They look very beautiful and elegant. These beautiful oaks and rhododendrons. Rhododendrons, it is an evergreen bush which produces a large, bright flowers grown in the garden. Especially these rhododendrons are being grown in a garden which produces a large number of bright flowers. These Two, plants are the beautiful ones. They give us cool water. These beautiful oaks and rhododendrons provide us cool water to drink and to use. So don't cut these trees. These group of people, one who have produced this folk song, have appealed the loggers not to cut these trees. They have requested the loggers to not to cut the trees because all these oaks or rhododendrons which are grown in the forest give us a cool water. We have to keep them all alive. We have the responsibility upon our shoulder to keep these oaks and rhododendrons all alive. They must exist around us. These oaks and rhododendrons should be kept all alive surrounding our nature. This is how the folk song goes on describing about the importance or significance of oaks and rhododendrons. And dear students, let us make a stop over here. I thank you all for listening to me all through the way. Thank you.